Tuesday, November 23rd, 2022, and we'd like to welcome everyone on board meeting. We'll call this meeting to order at 9 a.m. You can join today's board meeting via phone, dial 971-254-3149, conference ID 736-023-979#. Audio capabilities are listen only and are offered on a best effort for the public. Our meeting is also live streamed, and you can join us by going online to tctvonline.com and click on live broadcasts. Before we get started, I'd like to remind everyone to mute their phone. You can do this by pressing *6. Please unmute your phone when your agenda item is ready to be discussed. For those joining via computer, please unmute your microphone and turn on your camera when your agenda item is called. All others must remain muted with their cameras turned off. Thank you. Public comment. Those intending to provide public comment to the board may attend in person or email submissions to publiccomments@co.tillamook.or.us. Public comments received by 12 p.m. on Tuesday will be distributed to the board, posted online before the meeting, and become a part of the public record. You may also provide public comment virtually by registering ahead of time. To register, please email publiccomments@co.tillamook.or.us by 12 p.m. on the Tuesday prior to the board meeting. Public comments can also be mailed to the Board of Commissioners office, 201 Laurel Avenue, Tillamook, Oregon, 97141. For more information on public comment options, please visit the Board of Commissioners webpage. Okay, do we have anyone signed up in the room or online who's registered for public comment?
We do not.
We do not. Okay, excellent. Well, we have already called the meeting to order, and I will just address this, what feels like a slightly strange situation. Commissioner Mary Faith Bell is traveling today for the holidays and will not be at our meeting, and Commissioner David Yamamoto is remote. So I will be sitting here, what appears to be talking to myself at the dais, but we'll be happy to have David join us by screen, and Jane Scott will make sure virtually that you get that opportunity to make it look like I'm not talking to me. So, okay, with that, we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. And since I'm in the room, I will go ahead and I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Oh, there it is. Okay. Sorry, David. David walked off. Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay, public comment. I think we do not have any public comment. We do have one non-agenda item today, which we will take up after item number 9. Okay, so we will begin into our legislative administrative agenda. Item number 5 is discussion and consideration of an Oregon Department of Emergency Management Performance Grant, CFDA, number 97.042, grant number 22-258. And we have Randy Thorpe, our Director of Emergency Management, with us in the room today. Good morning, Randy.
Good morning. As you mentioned, this is our agreement that the county does every year with the Oregon Department of Emergency Management concerning the Emergency Management Performance Grant. This grant is a 50-50 matching grant. It runs the normal fiscal year, started back in July, and will run through June of next year. What this grant is used for in this county is it pays my salary. So it's every quarter I send in the performance evaluations and also the information of what we've been doing in the county every quarter in the way of emergency management, and also at that time I do submit the request for reimbursement, and we do that on a quarterly basis. That's about all I have with it, unless you have some questions concerning the grant.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Yamamoto, do you have questions or comments?
I don't. This is something that we do annually. I do want to point out that Randy is doing a terrific job as our new emergency manager, although I can't really say you're new anymore, Randy. You're
Unfortunately, no.
You're really reaching out to people and all, and that's what your position is all about. So I appreciate that very much. I do notice that, oh, I don't know how that happened. I've already signed this document, which is perfect. Okay. Good. So no, I appreciate it very much. And again, this helps alleviate the cost of hiring Randy, being our emergency manager for Tillamook County. Very important position. So thank you for what you do, Randy.
You bet.
All right, and I would just echo that. You know, Tillamook County has more declared emergencies than any other county in the state, and so having an emergency manager and a good one is important to us. I know you have been doing a lot of work in just how do we sort of make our program a bit more sophisticated. The other grants that have come across for equipment, I know you were working with the City of Tillamook and their City Council within the last week or two, and just appreciate the work you're doing out there. So I think your salary being paid is a great expense for this grant. So, and David, I think if we didn't vote for it, we would.
I do not see it signed.
Okay, do not see it signed. Thank you.
There's been a lot that you've signed in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, with David being absent, I think that is an after the vote. So just to clarify for those watching, it would be an after the vote signature. So with that, I think I am ready for a motion.
Perfect. So in consideration of an Oregon Department of Emergency Management Performance Grant, CFDA number 97.042, grant number 22-258, I would move approval.
And I would second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All of those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
so
Looks
much.
like I'm here for another year.
You are here for another year. At least you're funded for another year.
I'm
That's
funded
the
for
good
another
news.
year. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate your work. Okay, we will move on to item number 6. Discussion and consideration of administrative standards for social media use policy for the Tillamook County Parks Department. We should have Joanne Wolfley, our Director of Parks, with us. Good morning, Joanne.
Good morning and happy Thanksgiving.
Good morning.
Yes, there are a set of rules and guidelines with the Tillamook County IS Department and the Tillamook County for use of social media by the various county departments. And the Parks Department has already received approval for social media for Facebook, which we use. It's wonderful. We can tell people about King Tides, which by the way are coming up this weekend, starting on the 24th through the 26th. And we can also post photos of the beautiful locations that are owned by the county throughout the county by the parks and the county. And what we're wanting to do is get approval to start an Instagram account. It's going to be tied in with a Facebook account. It's primarily for photos, but a picture says 1,000 words, and we're looking forward to going that route.
Excellent.
So I seek your approval.
Okay, thank you. David, do you have questions or comments?
Some comments, please. Who would have ever thought that counties and cities and governments would have to be making these type of rules for social media use? But it seems like social media has exploded, and it's difficult for, especially with over 250 employees in the county and many different departments, many of which now have their own social media pages. We have to have some rules and regulations. To me, social media is a great thing, but it can also be a very dangerous thing. So Joanne, I appreciate it very much. You looking over our standards for social media use and putting together a policy for the County Parks Department. And I think this is going to go a long way in making sure that we're all on the same page and no one's going to get themselves into trouble. So thank you for that.
Yeah, and I agree. You know, social media in Tillamook County, really, it's a huge way we get information out on a regular basis. You know, we have our Headlight Herald reporter with us today, and our Headlight Herald, of course, is only printed once a week, and I believe it's every 2 weeks for our North Coast Citizen. And The newspaper that is in South Tillamook County is also, I believe, every 2 weeks. So we don't have media that is constantly active in any space other than the web and Facebook, right? So I think for us to have access as a county to Facebook and now Instagram is really important. It's how people learn about what's happening in our county in real time, because we don't have, I mean, we have the TCTV online, but it's not live reporters, it's not, here's the breaking news. Those things happen really significantly on our social media in Tillamook County. And it is effective. My teenage daughter, who really doesn't do Facebook very much, she's completely Insta now, but she brought up to me the other day how much she likes the Tillamook County Parks webpage, because you have Bones that moves around the county, and it's, the skeleton of the dog, and they're at the park and they're doing those things. So it is effective. So your social media campaigns are effective, and I know they're not only reaching local folks here, but they are reaching folks in the metro area and beyond who are looking to see if they can come and enjoy our county and our county parks. So I think it's great that you guys have these accounts, and I think it's great that you have a coordinated campaign that really draws attention. So thank you for that. We appreciate that, and I think advancing to Instagram is where the world is going. So I appreciate you all looking forward in that way. I think we are ready for a motion.
Perfect. So, in consideration of administrative standards for social media use policy for the Tillamook County Parks Department, I would move approval.
And I would second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All of those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Joanne.
Thanks, Joanne. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item number 7, which is discussion and consideration of an order in the matter of declaring county-owned property as surplus. And we have Jeff Underwood, our interim director of information services, with us today. Good morning, Jeff.
Good morning, commissioners. The item before you is a copier that DCD had. They have since had it replaced with actually an old, less old copier from another department who no longer used it. This one is that we want to get rid of is just well beyond its useful life. We considered auctioning, but the people who usually get the auctions do not arrive with a vehicle that would be able to take that away. CTX is happy to take it away at no cost to us, so we figured just getting it out of the way is probably our best option.
Thank you for that. Commissioner Yamamoto, questions or comments on this?
No, that's perfect. Unfortunately, we do buy lots of equipment, office equipment on a regular basis, and these all have certain lifespans. It's interesting that we're handing down old copiers to the department where their copier has died. These are very expensive pieces of equipment also, but absolutely essential for the day-to-day operation of our department. So Jeff, I appreciate very much you looking at this. Did not know that oftentimes when we auction these things, we sell them and people can't move them because they don't realize how large these copy machines really are. And they are huge. So appreciate you finding a no-cost solution for us. And I think this is a great thing. Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
And I completely agree. I have had the pleasure and horror of trying to buy new copiers and get rid of old copiers, and they definitely have a lifespan, and there's a point at which they just have to go, and typically having the copier company take it away is your best option. So appreciate that. We are ready for a motion.
Madam Chair, in consideration of an order in the matter of declaring county-owned property as surplus, I would move approval.
And I would second. We have a motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All of those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate
Thank you,
that.
commissioners.
Okay, I'm excited to move on to item number 8, which is discussion and consideration of a memorandum of agreement with Teamsters Local Union number 223, International Brotherhood of Teamsters of Portland, Oregon, regarding a January 1, 2023 wage increase. And we have Joel Stevens, our county counsel, here to present this morning. Good morning, Joel.
Good morning, Commissioner. Good to be here. So before you today is a memorandum of agreement, as you said, with the local Teamsters Union for effective January 1st, 2023, a 5% wage scale increase, starting with step 1 of the wage scale. This memorandum of agreement has already been approved and signed off on by the union, so it's before you today for discussion and consideration.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Commissioner Yamamoto, would you like to comment or have any questions?
No, I don't have any questions. This is something that we've been working on for some time, trying to bring our employees up to standards when it comes to wages across the state. And these are never easy situations, but it's something I feel that we absolutely need to do. I see Jody is online, our new HR director, and since Commissioner Bell is not here, I know all 3 commissioners, as well as many others, have been working on this for quite some time. And I would just love if Jody, if Commissioner Bell has had a conversation with you about these, if you just have a brief summary of her thoughts on this memorandum of understanding, as well as the next one for AFSCME. I would appreciate you verbalizing her thoughts on both of these also. Jody, if you're speaking, I believe you are muted.
I wonder if Jody had to step away for a moment. That often happens in these meetings. We're signed in and we're not able, we get pulled out of our chair. So, yeah, so I will just make a few comments. And as Commissioner Yamamoto stated, we have been working on this for quite some time. We know that in this last year, inflation has been just very, very large, and it's causing great difficulties for folks to make ends meet. And we know that for our staff, they are one of the most crucial pieces in our organization. The county provides services, and those services are provided by our staff. We don't make widgets. We're here to serve, and that requires good people, and hiring and retaining good people requires a wage that they can live on. So we are pleased to be able to provide this wage increase that will start in January for both of our unions, which are here in our contract, and then we'll discuss the unscheduled item here, which is for our non-represented as well. So we really wanted to make sure that everyone received this increase, and when you are working with 2 different unions as well as an unrepresented portion of your staff, it requires a bit of wheels to move to get it done. So we're just very pleased that we were able to get this done. So I'm going to guess that Jody had to step away. So Joel, do you have any other comments that you would like to make before we move on into a vote?
I do not, Commissioner. Thank you.
All right. So I would look for a motion then for item number 8. We'll take each of these separately.
Madam Chair, in consideration of a memorandum of agreement with Teamsters Local Union Number 223, International Brotherhood of Teamsters in Portland, Oregon, regarding a January 1, 2023 wage increase, I would move approval.
And I would second. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All of those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. And for the listeners out there, this has been a process in which Commissioner Bell has been involved. And although she is not here to vote with us today, to be clear, it's a 3-commissioner process that we've been working in, and she is in support as well. So just so that doesn't, whenever we take important votes when there are 2 out of 3 commissioners here, I think it can have a funny optic, right? That like we're doing something, and to be clear, this is something we all feel strongly about. Okay, I think we are ready then to move on to item number 9. Which is discussion and consideration of a memorandum of agreement with Oregon AFSCME Local Union number 2734 regarding a January 1, 2023 wage increase. And again, we have Joel with us to present. Anything, Joel?
Thank you, Commissioner. So, thank you. So as you said, this is a memorandum of agreement with the local ASME union effective January 1, 2023. Step 1 of the salary scales would be increased by 5%. As with the Teamsters union, this has been reviewed by the local ASME union and it's been approved and signed off on, so it is before you for discussion and consideration.
Perfect, thank you. Anything you wanted to add, Commissioner Yamamoto? I realize the comments are probably quite similar to Teamsters.
And they are, and I would like to echo what you mentioned earlier, is that Tillamook County, the biggest asset that Tillamook County has are our employees. And we just went through an election and property tax collection. People don't realize how much work, just those two issues, people don't realize how much work goes into both of those issues, as well as so many others. Community development, public works, our sheriff's office, our jail, all the work that goes into providing the services for every resident in this county is truly tremendous. It's heroic, the work that gets done, especially when we're short-staffed as we are. But this hopefully will start to alleviate those issues with people considering taking jobs elsewhere, and they really want to stay here in Tillamook County. So I think this is just a win-win-win all the way around. Again, something that we have been talking about for quite some time, but it's finally starting to come to fruition, and I think this is a good thing, not only for county employees, but actually for all of the residents of Tillamook County at the same time.
Thank you. Yeah, as I've said before, it is our staff that provide our services to our residents, and it's crucial that our staff are compensated and at an appropriate level to keep our positions filled. And we have struggled to fill positions. We have had a certain amount of turnover. It's not an easy market out there. Everyone watching, I'm sure, knows that. Housing is expensive. Everything is expensive. So for us to fill positions and to maintain services, we need to make sure we are maintaining in a market. And we have done a market study. It is being finalized at this time and will become something that people can look at and that's guiding us in this. We're not just randomly choosing 5%. So I think that's another piece that's important. And we've had to find the money, and some of that money is coming from the fact that we have had unfilled positions that we really are struggling. So there's, we don't get to do anything without making sure the resources exist. And so Sean Blanchard, our treasurer, is in the room today, and she has done the deep dive into our budget to make sure this is affordable to the county before we've taken this step. So I think that's the other thing I would assure folks is that, we don't take it lightly when we increase the expenses of the county. Okay, I think we are ready for a motion.
Madam Chair, in consideration of a memorandum of agreement with Oregon AFSCME, local union number 2734, regarding the January 1, 2023 wage increase, I would move approval.
And I would second. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All of those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, we will
Thank you,
take.
Commissioner.
Yeah, thank you, Joel. Appreciate it. We will take up our unscheduled item at this point, which is a discussion-only item, but it is discussion of a 5% pay increase for non-represented executive service, justice facility, and county council employees. And Sean Blanchard, our treasurer, will come to speak to this item. Good morning, Sean.
Good morning, Commissioners. How are you this morning?
We're good. How are you?
Good. So normally in past practice, when union employees have received an across-the-board increase, that has been applied to non-rep exempt, non-rep non-exempt, executive service employees, whatever else there were.
I read them all. Let's see.
Justice facility.
Yes.
That was the other one. Employees. And so it's for your discussion whether or not you want to deploy that January 1 to those groups.
Perfect, thank you. I appreciate the conversation. So it is a discussion, not actually a vote, but it's to provide guidance to you, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
I would at a later date bring to you the updated pay tables reflecting that if you decide to direct me that way.
Okay, perfect, thank you. Commissioner Yamamoto, comments or questions on this item?
this is vitally important. It's difficult for the commissioners to say, yes, we're going to give AFSCME union members and Teamsters union members a 5% increase. When we do have those that are not union members, they're absolutely deserving of this 5% increase. So I would say that, yes, this is something that the county needs to do. We can't pick and choose. It's very difficult for us to pick and choose. And we don't want to be in that position. So even though we're not taking a vote on this today, if we're looking for direction to Sean, and Sean, again, appreciate everything you do. You have been instrumental in all of these discussions that we've been having. And so I would say, I would tell you that yes, we need to continue to move forward with the 5% increase for non-represented executive service, justice facility, and county council employees. And again, I appreciate all the work that you're doing with this.
Excellent, thank you. Yeah, and I completely agree. I think one of the things that we always have to be mindful of is wage compression, and that really speaks to if you give raises to folks who are that are supervised by someone and you don't give their supervisor a raise, eventually they reach the same level as their supervisor in wages, and then why would you want to take on the extra work of being a supervisor when you're not compensated at any greater level? That requires training and skills and pieces of work that do take just a bit more, period. And so it's really important that we maintain our salary scales and that they move together. And so in these situations where we have folks who are not represented and we are increasing the represented, we need to increase them as well. That keeps the entire county moving forward in a way that allows us to recruit and retain for those positions as well. So from my perspective, it's an absolute requirement that we move everyone forward. If we just do our unions, we will hit a compression point that will be extremely detrimental. So Sean, I think the agreement really is that we need to do this. Again, the three commissioners have talked about this in executive session related to the union increases, and Commissioner Bell has shared her desire to continue to move everyone forward and avoid the compression as well. So I think we will look forward to you coming to us with a new pay table on this so that we can make sure the county is equitable with how we provide our increases.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Okay, that was our unscheduled, which allows us to keep just trucking right along through our agenda this morning. We have item number 10, discussion and consideration of an order in the matter of the appointment of a member to the Tillamook County Fair Board. And we have Cammie Von Segren, Director of the Tillamook County Fair, with us this morning. Good morning, Cammie.
Good morning.
And Karen.
There we go.
How is everybody this morning?
Good, how are you?
I was playing peekaboo with you.
Yes. We see you now.
Sorry. Yes, good morning. We have had some discussion in regards to the 7-member Fair Board. So we are very fortunate, and we are looking for your approval today for someone who will be replacing the position of Josh Brown, who was on our Fair Board previously. So this individual has gone through the application process, done the interview process, and actually took a week off of work to join us at the fair last year, or this year, and put in the time and the effort to see if it was something that they really still wanted to do. So I am very pleased to offer up the application for Mike Bentley to join the Fair Board.
Thank you, Cammie. Commissioner Yamamoto, comments or questions?
Well, I've known Mike for quite a few years. He's a great person. But going back, Cammie, to your Fair Board, all of our volunteers, all of our volunteers all across the county are just exceptional and do all this work at no charge to us. But the Fair Board is a little different in that yours is a true working Fair Board. The number of hours that your Fair Board members take out of their personal life and actually do work on the fairground is truly just incomprehensible to me. How they're able to do all that they do, not only in giving you direction, as to how the fair should be run, but actually going out and doing so much physical labor. I'm at the fair every day, and all the fair board members are also there every day. Some of them are picking up trash, and I mean, it's just incredible to me, all the things that get done at that fair. And we wouldn't be able to put on the great Tillamook County Fair that we put on every year without that working fair board. And I just have to say that Mike Bentley is going to make a terrific addition to your fair board. So kudos to you and your fair board and all those involved in putting on the fair on an annual basis. I think everyone in Tillamook County and many people throughout the state of Oregon and the Northwest understand that the Tillamook County Fair, when it's going, they drive miles and miles and miles to make sure that they get to come to the Tillamook County Fair, because it's kind of one of a kind on the West Coast. So thank you for what you do, and thank you for Mike Bentley and all of your board members for doing what they do.
Thank you, Commissioner. Yeah, I would agree completely. I won't recap the fair board's duties, because you've done a great job of that. They work very hard. I will share that in the last year, we had 2 other openings on the fair board that we did put out application for, we interviewed for, and there's a process behind this. And so Mike Bentley had also applied at the same time. He was interviewed at the same time. So we just didn't have a position for him at the time that he applied, but as this position has come open, he was next in line from our prior process. And I'm very thrilled that he is still willing to serve after having taken that week off and done all that hard work. But Mike has been involved in the fair for years already. So this isn't new to him, it's just an expanded role for him. So I'm super pleased to be able to put this in front of us as a vote and to hopefully get him on the board this morning. So with that, I think we are ready for a motion.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In consideration of an order in the matter of the appointment of a member to the Tillamook County Fair Board, I would move approval.
And I would second. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All of those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you so much, Cammie. Appreciate your being here this morning and all the work that you do.
Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate all the support from the commissioners over the years. We really appreciate it.
Right. Okay, moving on to item number 11, which is discussion and consideration of an out-of-state travel request for David Yamamoto to attend the National Association of Oregon Counties Annual Legislative Conference in Washington, D.C., February 2nd to the 14th. And Commissioner Yamamoto will speak about this.
Perfect, and I appreciate that very much. I think there's one change I just noticed. So it's not the National Association of Oregon Counties. This is NACO, the National Association of Counties Annual Legislative Conference in Washington, D.C. I've been attending this for the past 4 or 5 years. But this is where, honestly, this is where a lot of work actually gets done. We do spend 3 days in meetings. I'm a member of EELU, Environment, Energy, and Land Use Steering Committee, as well as the RAC, the Rural Action Caucus at NACO. I always attend the Justice and Public Safety meetings, as well as many others. But this is where, on the national level, things really get done. And I'll just point out one area that we've been pretty successful in is with the No Fisheries FEMA buyout. The last couple of years, I've been able to pass resolutions concerning the buyout. In July in Denver at the annual meeting, I was able to pass the newest nationwide resolution on the No Fisheries FEMA rolled up from the buyout. We've gained some attention nationwide now because the No Fisheries FEMA buyout is going nationwide. And we're definitely making some progress. Matter of fact, we just had a letter go out from Tillamook County, and we sent it to all 123 commissioners across the state, asking them to sign on. And the response that we've gotten from commissioners across the state has been tremendous. We are submitting those letters to our federal delegation. We have a movement possibly to get a change, another pause perhaps, coming up in December. And these letters are instrumental in making sure that we can hopefully, fingers crossed, get this done. And this has tentacles to NACO, all of it. So again, it's important that even though we are the Association of Oregon Counties, we also have NACO, the National Association of Counties, where we can make a difference and share best practices with commissioners from across the nation. It's a really important thing that we do. I think we gain much more than we spend on attending the National Association of Counties events. And with that, I'll just pause.
Thank you, Commissioner. I appreciate that, and I appreciate that really thorough description and discussion, because there, the commissioners have what I said in my campaign were sort of 3 levels of responsibility, and I continue to see that as a commissioner. And the first one is right here at home in our very own county, making sure that we are making good administrative and executive decisions for the county, which is what you see in this meeting regularly with approval of contracts and wages and different things that we need to do, approval of our budgets. And there's another layer of that, which is attending to our needs as they relate to our relationship with the state. And that was the Association of Oregon Counties conference we were at last week, is kind of where that centers itself and comes to a head, is through AOC and the work we do. And the third then is that federal level, where we look at both, where we could have great opportunities and where we need to fend off dangers. And so that's a really important piece. And that travel to Washington, D.C. is something that you will see in the next agenda item that I'm going to do this year as well, looking to the future and the need to make sure that I have a relationship beginning at that federal level to make sure that I can serve in that role as well. So the first one we have is Commissioner Yamamoto's travel, and I think we are ready for a motion.
Thank you, Madam Chair. If I may make one additional comment, please.
Yes, please.
So, collaboration, and you're absolutely right. So, in the Tillamook County level, at the state level, at the federal level, it's collaboration. And so when I talk about the no fisheries FEMA buyout, in the state of Oregon, with 36 counties, there are 5 counties in the state of Oregon that will not be affected by this biological opinion, no fisheries FEMA buyout. And yet, because of the collaborative efforts that have taken place behind the scenes here, all 5 of those counties that are not going to be affected by the buyout have all signed that letter that we're handing off to, and that just shows you that this is, yes, we're concerned about our individual counties, but when it comes to supporting the other counties in the state of Oregon and even nationwide, that's an important concept that we need to continue to take forward. So we're blessed to have that support throughout Oregon.
Yes,
So with that, Madam Chair, I'll be looking for so Joel, I guess I need to ask Joel. Joel, can I make a motion for my own out-of-state travel requests?
Commissioner, it's up to you if you feel comfortable. It's, sorry, I would just say, it's up to you, if you'd like to defer that to Commissioner Scar, that's fine. But, I mean, it's directly related to county business. There's no personal gain, so I don't feel like there's any conflict of interest concerns here. But it's up to you, whatever you're comfortable with.
I would be comfortable with it as long as Commissioner Scar is comfortable.
That's fine. It is, as Joel states, it is county business. It is part of what we do, and we will be taking mine up next. So, just part of how we do this here, right? We're a small board, and sometimes we do have to speak to something that is related to us. But as County Council has very clearly pointed out, there is no personal gain. It is not a conflict of interest as that would be defined.
Perfect. So, in consideration of an out-of-state travel request for me, David Yamamoto, to attend the National Association of Counties Annual Legislative Conference in Washington, D.C., February 10 through February 14, 2023, I would move approval.
And I would second. We have a motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All of those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, moving on to item number 12, discussion and consideration of an out-of-state travel request for Aaron Scar to attend the National Association of Counties Annual Legislative Conference in Washington, D.C., February 10th through February 14th. And I will present this one, and I will just very quickly say, we've just talked about this at length regarding David's travel request, and I'm going to the same conference for the very same purposes, so I would suggest that we are probably ready for a motion.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, in consideration of an out-of-state travel request for Aaron Starr to attend the National Association of Counties Annual Legislative Conference in Washington, D.C., February 10th through February 14th, 2023, I would move approval.
And I would second. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All of those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you. Okay, moving on to item number 13. Discussion and consideration of a memorandum of agreement with the Emergency Volunteer Corps of Nehalem Bay for emergency preparedness engagement and community outreach. We have Rachel Haggerty, Chief of Staff. Good morning, Rachel.
Good morning. This agreement will provide $20,000 from the Emergency Management Fund from Tillamook County to the Emergency Volunteer Corps of Nehalem Bay. This is part of the board's new strategy to strategically provide funding on an annual basis to both this group as well as the South County Emergency Preparedness Group. So it is executed by them and ready for consideration.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Yamamoto, questions or comments?
Yeah, so I have been involved for many years with the Emergency Volunteer Corps of Nehalem Bay, and again, they're the gold standard when it comes to Emergency Volunteer Corps activity and all the issues they've developed over the past, over 20 years. And they are more than willing to share. They tell everyone, don't reinvent the wheel, we've done this. If you need help, just let us know, and we'll give you some direction on how we do things. And we feel it's very important. I'm sure all listeners feel it's very important that these emergency volunteer corps are set up, especially all up and down the Oregon coast. I mean, with the Cascadia subduction zone, a huge, not a possibility, but it's just a matter of when it's going to happen. Emergency preparedness is a very important aspect of all coastal counties. And so, again, Emergency Volunteer Corps of Nehalem Bay is the 800-pound gorilla in the room. I am also a board member of the South Tillamook County Emergency Volunteer Corps. This funding is really helpful in helping us move forward to prepare the citizens of Tillamook County for the potential emergencies that we face. And again, it was mentioned earlier today, we are the most emergency-prone county in the state of Oregon. Landslides, windstorms, flooding, you name it, it seems Tillamook County is susceptible to it. I remember we had a tornado in Manzanita not that many years ago, and the EVCNB was activated and helped really make sure that people were safe, and they did a great job during that emergency. So it's very important that we continue this work moving forward, and the minimal funding that we provide from the county to the EVCs, the 2 EVCs in Tillamook County is important. And since we're being broadcast live throughout the county, I just want to make sure that everyone understands that we need an emergency volunteer corps in Central County. And this is important. People think, well, yeah, we have Pacific City and Nescoin in the south, and Tierra Del Mar, and in the north we've got Manzanita and Rockaway and all. But nothing's going to happen here in Central County. Well, that's absolutely incorrect. If you look at the floodplain map during a major tsunami, major portions of the city of Tillamook are going to be inundated. And so having those plans in place, having an emergency volunteer corps is important. So we are definitely looking for people to take the reins of helping us to develop an emergency volunteer corps in Central County. So if you feel that you've got the time and the willingness to do that, please reach out and let's talk about trying to establish an emergency volunteer corps here in Central County. So with that, Madam Chair, I'll get off my soapbox.
Thank you, Commissioner, for standing on the soapbox. It's one we all agree, and it's a broad soapbox that we all stand on. Emergency preparedness is critical. The Emergency Volunteer Corps of Nehalem really is amazing. They have a medical corps that goes alongside them. They have many volunteers that are trained in the CERT process. They just really are ready to stand up whenever there is an emergency. And we do need that in Tillamook County. We have small cities. We have small departments of public works and law enforcement and others that typically are your main response in an emergency. There are areas of the county that don't have any of those departments. So volunteers, individuals who live in these communities, will be the responders. So we want to be prepared. The difference between being prepared and not being prepared is life and death. So we really do need that here in central Tillamook County alongside our City of Tillamook Public Works and law enforcement and fire and rescue. We're gonna need volunteers, and we're gonna need volunteers ready to step up. So I echo Commissioner Yamamoto's cry for help, right? Let's start something in central county that covers those areas that include and are outside of the city. So I'm delighted that we are funding EVC&B and that we'll also be funding the South County group. I think that there is a call from folks throughout the county that we heard about a year and a half ago. We did a survey through the Futures Council, and one of the top issues that our residents across the county said was important to them was emergency preparedness. And so as the county, we have really been looking at what's our role. We have Randy Thorpe, who is exploring that further and looking to expand our response capability, but we know that our response capability needs to be augmented by volunteers. So we are supporting the two volunteer corps that exist, and look forward to helping to form and support another one. So with that, again, I will get off the same soapbox and look for a motion.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In consideration of a memorandum of agreement with the Emergency Volunteer Corps of Nehalem Bay for emergency preparedness engagement and community outreach, I would move approval.
And I would second. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All of those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, moving on to item number 14, which is discussion and consideration of an American Rescue Plan Act subrecipient agreement with Oregon Human Development Corporation for the Tillamook County Latinx and Farm Worker Community Needs Assessment Project. Rachel Haggerty, Chief of Staff.
This is one of the projects that the board decided to approve after a community solicitation of projects. The Oregon Human Development Corporation has worked with the Latinx and farm worker population since 1979, and they currently oversee many programs that serve these populations. So this project would be a community needs assessment that would collect data and build a realistic picture of the population's needs in Tillamook County. So the assessment would include meeting with various Tillamook County officials, agencies, partners, developing an outreach process to those communities, collecting and analyzing data, and then delivering a final report on findings. So it is in the amount of $45,000 and ready for your consideration.
Excellent, thank you. I'm actually going to kick this one off, Commissioner, if you don't mind. So one of the things that, thank you. So this is an organization that I have worked with in the past, and in my role as the Executive Director of CARE, this organization provides many of similar services to our Latinx community across the state. And as we really started digging into what's important in Tillamook County, what are the needs, the pieces that we were looking at in the pandemic really highlighted the fact that for our Latinx community, we do not have natural spokespeople who are able to help us as government and as leaders to really reach into that community and understand the needs. We struggled during the pandemic. The health department has done a great amount of work to try to make sure that we were getting vaccines into that community. But there are simply cultural differences that we don't really have programs and processes to make sure that we are serving equally across our cultural differences. So this is a really important project to me, that we reach out to our community, that we understand what the needs are, what the cultural differences are, and how we need to operate differently to provide equal services to everyone in our county. And at this point in time, the census, I believe, came up with a Latinx or Hispanic population in Tillamook County of somewhere around 15 to 17%. But we also know that in our school districts, it is 35% and above. So we do have an expanding population here who may not even speak English, who have different cultural needs, and we need to be responsive as government. So I'm excited about this because it gives us an opportunity to have an organization that is culturally specific, who works with these populations on a regular basis, to go and provide an opportunity to listen in a way that is culturally appropriate and in a way that will provide for us the data we need. So I'm super excited about this one. Other questions or comments, Commissioner Yamamoto?
Commissioner Starr, I appreciate your comments very much, and I would concur with you. You know, this, in Tillamook County in particular, this is kind of a hidden subgroup, and yet they provide so much in the way of labor and services to the residents of Tillamook County. And it's important that we do understand exactly where they are and how we can best help support them moving forward. So I am fully in agreement with this subrecipient agreement moving forward.
Thank you. I think we are ready for a motion.
Madam Chair, consideration of an American Rescue Plan Act recipient agreement with Oregon Human Development Corporation for the Tillamook County Latinx and Formal Community Needs Assessment Project. I would move approval.
I would second. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All of those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. All right, thank you. That brings us to the board concerns section of our agenda. Commissioner, do you have any board concerns today?
Not concerned. I just want to wish everyone out there tomorrow and through the weekend a very happy Thanksgiving. Great time to be together with family and friends moving forward. And I'm hoping everyone has a very, very safe holiday weekend.
Thank you, and I would echo those comments. So we will be going into executive session this morning, but before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and read our board announcements, as we do not expect to make decisions, but we will come out of that when we come back into this meeting. So I will do our board announcements, and then I will have our county council let us know what the number is that we're going into executive session under. So other meetings from this week, board briefing scheduled for Wednesday, November 23rd, 2022 at 2 p.m. has been canceled. That was today. Thanksgiving Day is an observed holiday for the county and the Oregon State Circuit Court. All of the county offices in Tillamook County Courthouse and the Tillamook County Library, administrative offices in the jail and justice facility, Public Works Department, Department of Community Development, Surveyor's Office, and the Health and Human Services Department and clinics will be closed Thursday, November 24th and Friday, November 25th, 2022. The commissioners will hold a workshop on Monday, December 5th at 1 p.m. with John Upton for a quarterly report on Tillamook County's retirement plan. The teleconference number is 1-971-254-3149. Conference ID 736-023-979#. With that, County Council, are you able to let us know we're going into executive session under
actually two subsections of 192.660, specifically 192.660 K and 2E. One's to consider the employment of a public officer agent, the other's to consult with a person designated by the board to negotiate real property transactions.
Okay, perfect. And are both of these where the media is welcome to join us?
Yes, Mr. Is it Chapel Will?
Yes.
Yeah, anyway, Will can hang out as long as he doesn't record anything.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for that. With that, we will recess this meeting at 9:54 a.m. Thank you.